Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Bayonetta. We've got a rather weird chapter this time around, and I'd like to advise anyone who has motion sickness that they might want to be careful when watching this video, because the gameplay for 2/3 of this video is gonna maybe revolve around something that might make you feel uncomfortable. But we got a cutscene to get through first.
You're really not going to like what comes next. I hope you know that.
Don't tell me. Air Cheshire has awful in-flight entertainment and horrendous food.
Think about it. Those things that downed the jet aren't just going to let us land on their island. You think we can just say, "Hey, we're here!" and they'll bring us a cake? Things look good from up here. But the further down you go, the harder it is to not notice the reality of things.
Cheshire, look.
Oh, I'm looking.
Must be really difficult both wanting to kill her and put your dick in her at the same time.
Oh, fuck me.
Welcome to my fantasy zone. Get ready.
So today on this episode of Let's Play Space Harrier, yeah, just like the motorcycle sequence, this is a throwback to the classic Sega arcade game Space Harrier. The controls here are very simple. You can use the shoulder buttons to do a circle around a dodge. You press either the shoot or punch buttons to fire out these very Space Harrier-like bullets. You can either press the jump or kick button to unleash these little Wicked Weave-like kick missiles, which home onto whatever target is currently locked onto. Yeah, you're gonna have to do a lot of button mashing on here, and you have to avoid a lot of these green missiles that are sent after you. Again, this is all graphically similar, like in presentation style, to the game Space Harrier, which is a game that Hideki Kamiya loves. When you get against basic affinities here, I recommend using the magic missiles, I guess I could call them that. But each time you use one of them, they take one magic orb, and you don't want to spam them too quickly. Against most of these decorations, you can just, use your standard shots, like against them, since they die pretty quickly. But if you leave too many of them on there, they'll start to try and shoot you. Against the deer's enemy, they're only vulnerable to your regular shots in their face. Whereas, when they turn around, they will be invulnerable, and you have to use a missile to defeat them. This part of the game operates on the sort of, as long as you keep moving, you'll never get hit logic, which is what Hideki Kamiya stated in a commentary about this game. And that's what dodging looks like. Based on the idea, it is better to try and keep moving in order to avoid getting hit rather than using the dodge button, because as soon as you have to start dodging, you pretty much have to keep dodging until all the enemy shots are gone. Now, these parts here are just like fighting like the dragon enemies from Space Harrier. You'll have to fight these inspireds. They will shoot fireballs at you, and they will give you witch time. The regular green shots that all the enemies shoot, they will not give you witch time, so you're mostly going to want to save your magic orbs for using the Wicked Weave missiles until you're in witch time, so that you could take out the inspired dragons easier. Yeah, for some of these decorations, you can find a pretty good little cross-section where you can keep firing. Against these harmonies, they will always approach in the same way, and one after the other three, they will shoot a cluster of shots at you. So you have to, say, move with them as you shoot them in order to kill them. And then I always do a dodge right afterwards in order to avoid the shots that inevitably come after me. A lot of people really don't like this chapter, and I can see why. It's starkly different from the other aspects of the gameplay. Okay, now, this is something you have to do something specific here. Eventually during the fight, you will have to get into this very short battle with these two affinities and one applaud. What you want to do here is have enough magic in order to kill the applaud with a torture attack. Because that is the only way you can get the witch hearts in this stage. There are 2 of them in this stage. They're the only, you know, those collectibles that are in this stage, but it's what you need to do in order to get them. So, if you don't have enough magic and you need to, you know, get some in order to get a full magic bar, I recommend you taunt him for a while so that you could build up your magic again. But yeah, I'm not too big a fan of this myself because of the way that the back of the missile is designed that you're riding. It has a very circular, like by its design, it's a bit tough to see what's exactly ahead of you if you're trying to focus on shooting one thing. It's why I find like other space shooters, like Star Fox games, to be a bit easier, because I tend to find it's a bit easier to see everything that's ahead of you on those on-rail shooters. Now, this is the end of the first verse, and yeah, I took 1 hit there. And see, this is what happens. When you're being fired at, you have to keep dodging to avoid this. Again, sorry if you get motion sickness easily. This is a courage. Like, I incorrectly called him a fortitude earlier, but yeah, this is a copy of Fortitudo. What you have to do is wait through some of his attacks until he shoots these fireballs at you. Dodge them until you can get witch time. You can shoot the fireballs back at him. And I just lay waste into him with as many missiles that you have. If you have the accessory that keeps restoring 2 magic orbs, as you can see that I have on there. I think it's the Eternal Testimony. That means you will always have at least 2 missiles replenished pretty quickly. You only have to do 2 verses of this Space Harrier shooting stage, but the verses are long and they're very annoying to have to restart if you want to restart in order to get a good rank. Because one of the achievements for this game requires you to get a platinum on both these 2 verses. Not a pure platinum, but a regular platinum. I hear you can get the achievement by playing it on easy mode, but I've never completed any of the stages on easy mode before, so I can't confirm that. But yeah, like, that's the main problem with this game. These verses last quite a while, like, when you're not really paying attention to it, because just like the motorcycle sections, like, the gameplay doesn't really change at all during these verses. And so, repetition sets in pretty quickly, I'm not gonna lie. And yeah, here's a second applaud that you need to kill with a torture attack in order to get the heart piece. Those are the 2 heart pieces that you need for this chapter, so that's all done. What I'm doing here is I'm switching out my weapon setup, because once you defeat the second verse, you're gonna have another boss fight, and you're gonna want to make sure you have all the weapons that you really want against this fight before the autosave happens. You don't want to have to keep restarting the boss fight with you and have to constantly begin each fight restart by switching out your weapons again. These enemies here are beloveds, actually, and they have bazookas now that fire these fireballs at you. Again, they often attack you in groups, and they will shoot quite a few fireballs at you. The timing for dodging the fireballs can be kind of weird. If you're like in the middle of a dodge when one passes by you, you won't get witch time, but if you activate the dodge like right before it hits you, or if you just finish up a dodge right before it hits you, then you will get witch time. It's kind of weird. But really, I actually don't find platinuming this stage to be all that difficult. Like, the enemy placement is always the same each and every time, and it's true that as long as you keep moving, you will probably not get hit, ever. But it's a real taxing on your hands, because you need to keep mashing the fire button in order to keep as many shots out going as you can. See, that can be really, really tiring to a lot of people, and I don't blame anyone for not liking this stage. It's an excellent homage to Space Harrier, I do not deny that. But I'm not entirely sure it really needed to be in this game for quite this long. Like, I think this would have done a good job as, like, a bonus minigame that you can unlock, like, after beating the game or something like that. And yeah, you have to fight, like, a group of Inspireds here, so there's gonna be a lot of fireballs coming after you, and it'll give you plenty of time in order to get witch time. And of course, in order to recover your magic, just shoot them with your regular shots. So as you can see, I dodged some of the fireballs previously, but I didn't get any witch time from it. So the witch time is kind of screwed with the fireballs, I'm not gonna lie. And this is the final, I think this should be like the final gauntlet of this part. I don't like fighting in here because if you're in a bit close quarters and it's a bit easier to get hit with enemy shots, in my opinion. Yeah, the Affinities take quite a few regular shots to kill, and they will always be shooting straight at you. And here comes Kinship once again to piss on my day. Thankfully, their laser is easily dodged and gives you plenty of witch time, and they die with like 1 missile each, so actually, Kinships aren't that bad in this stage. But yeah, if you're getting tired of watching this, I don't blame this part of you. A lot of people got really tired of playing this as well. Because it feels like it just goes on and on after a while. Like, even though it's, like, in reality, it doesn't really last all that long, it gets very repetitive, and it starts to feel like it's lasting a whole lot of time. But Hideki Kamiya loves his classic arcade games, and that's why he does things like this, so... coming up here, I think after this last little gauntlet should be the last thing right before the end of the second verse, like the boss of the second verse. At least the harmonies are easy to destroy. Other than that, I really don't have too much to say about the Space Harrier section anymore. Like, pretty much all the enemies we've run into already. I actually ended up getting a pure platinum for the second verse, which I was pretty happy with. Like, recording this didn't go as bad as I thought it would. Like, I only had to restart each verse just once before I got a platinum on the first verse and a pure platinum on this verse. And here we have to fight Temperance as the boss of verse 2. Now, a bunch of decorations are going to be around here, and they'll be shooting at you. And while Temperance is going to be firing the finger missiles at you. Basically, what I just do is I just keep dodging keep low so I can dodge all the decoration shots, and then dodge his head laser, which you can get witch time from, and I just lay waste him as many shots and magic missiles as I can use. You're gonna have to fight this. It's a bit difficult to get this in, like, say 1 or 2 cycles because as you have to keep dodging, you can't really shoot too many of the decorations to get more magic from. And it's, when you're just trying to fight Temperance, it's a bit difficult, you know, just to get enough magic to, like, be restored. That's why Eternal Testimony is really useful here during this fight, because it will almost always give you a supply of at least one or two missiles to use against him. But yeah, when he gets back down here, like, look how low his health is right now. But I mean, I'm not risking going up to fight him because he's shooting his finger missiles and I have to avoid decoration shots. But thankfully, that went a lot better than expected and I got a pure platinum against it. And your health will always be restored at the end of both the the Courage and Temperance fights, so it's not too bad.
It's brilliant, Mummy!
Welcome to Isla del Sol. Island of wealth and power. Jean, if you've made it this far, that should be enough. You're back to your old self. This is where we finish what was started so long ago.
A friend of my enemy is also my enemy, be it witch or sage.
The Lumen Sages. They were our counterbalance as overseers. Between us, there was a law that was never to be broken. It stated that the intersection of light and dark would bring calamity to this earth. 500 years ago, a child was born in clear violation of this tenet. That child was you.
500 years ago.
The disaster this caused sent the clans into a spiral of chaos that continues to be felt to this day. You, the half-breed of light and dark, are at the center of that chaos. Allowing you to continue to exist is a danger that cannot be accepted. When the eyes of the world are within our grasp, the power of creation will be awakened. That is why the left eye, our treasured left eye, will never fall into the hands of another. The left eye, our treasured left eye, will never fall into the hands of another. Bayonetta, it is time that this is brought to an end. That you are brought to an end.
You did it.
It is our charge as witches to protect the treasures of the clan by any means necessary, even if it means burning every inch of this island to a crisp.
I'm really beginning to hate missiles. You know, I have no idea what the hell you girls got going on here. But you don't mind if I take this off your hands, do you? Get in, Cerecita.
Mommy?
Bayonetta, time is of the essence. This can wait no longer.
Truly, I don't know why Jean fires so many missiles during the cutscene. But in any case, this is the hardest fight with Jean in the game. Well, it's the final fight with Jean in the game, so as you might expect that. Not necessarily due to what she can do, but more out of simple longevity. She has like 5 health bars here. She doesn't really have any new moves here during this first phase. During this first phase where you're on this part of the building. But I want to show off here that slowdown kind of causes some problems with this part of the fight. I really didn't experience much slowdown with the rest of the fight for some reason. Just here. Like, she doesn't really have any new moves ever since you fought her on top of the Valkyrie plane a few chapters ago. And that's why you're not going to see me spend too much time showing you footage of a bunch of failed attempts at this part, because it's really all the same. Like, she still uses a lot of Wicked Weave attacks and demonic summons against you, and they will all get you witch time, so... Though I guess, to be honest, during this part, when you're fighting her, the Evil Harvest Rosary might be useful, because this is probably the closest you will always be with her, at least in my opinion. Getting counterattacks with her with the Moon of Mahakala is probably one of the most useful things you could do to her, because it gives you so much more witch time than dodging any of her Wicked Weaves and Infernal Summons. Yeah, and you can actually take a fair amount of damage against Jean, actually, and still get a gold for damage. You could take up to 1,000 units of damage against her and still get a gold for it. Now, when the cutscene starts to shift and the life bars goes away, like, the fight will still be going on screen, but you can take damage there because anything that she hits you with during that time will not be counted against your rank, so you don't have to worry about that. Damn, she must keep that thing clean. Now, during the second phase, there's one major thing that you have to look out for. You're in a far more open space here, and so, like, all of her she'll try to, like, dodge away from you a bit more often. Every time she tries to dodge you, she will either try to do, like, you know, like a straight-down meteor strike or an afterburner kick into you. Or that. Okay, I have to explain what this is. If you hear her say burn and snap and a Wicked Weave doesn't appear, it means she threw a missile at you. This is more something that you have to predict rather than react to, because if your camera isn't looking the right way, you will have to, you know, just kind of predicting what's supposed to happen. You have to press the punch and kick buttons together in order to counter it. You have a very narrow window of time in order to try and actually grab it. I got lucky here, and I did it on my first try. And then you and Jean will have a case of hot potato where you keep throwing it back at each other, and you have to keep pressing the punch and kick buttons together in order to throw it back. I actually got really lucky during this fight that I took almost no damage. I got the missile perfectly on my first try, and I didn't have to restart this fight. Because now, right now, is when you get another checkpoint. So, yeah, if you have to restart the fight, you have to press up and jump there. You'll have to do that part on the building over again, and then the part where she changes to her white clothes all over again. Only now, when it makes you jump onto a missile, do you actually get a checkpoint. And again, like, the only part here that's really bad is the camera. It's going to be constantly moving while you're on top of this missile. I've heard that if you punch or kick at the same time she is punching or kicking, you will get into one of those counter-attack strikes. And after you do enough damage, you will have to jump again, press up and jump in order to get onto the second missile. For this fight, I like using the Onyx Roses for one of my alternate weapon sets, because when you're pretty close to her, she will rarely dodge it or try to knock it out of the way. I tend to find that she's pretty susceptible to being put into hit stun from it. If you're really good at punching buttons really quickly, or sorry, like, you know, tapping buttons really quickly like I am, pretty much all the counter times where you have to get into one of those clashes with her, kicks and punches are very, very good to do, because they're consistent port of damage, and I think they're pretty easy to pull off. After the missile segment, you'll get another checkpoint for this part right here, where you have to fight onto this sort of like a penthouse rooftop sort of area. You will do a lot of witch walking at this part. She would like to walk up this little waterfall section, and it can be really, really screwy here, because if she's on one of the two parts of the walls and you're not, she can get a massive advantage over you. And I tend to find it's difficult for you to get an advantage over her, because she will often try to, like, dodge out of the way. Like, as soon as you see her move to a different location, it's best to follow her as quick as you can up onto the wall or something. What really sucks here is that sometimes when I was fighting her, I had a massively awesome looking combo that I had against her, and it was going really well, but then just at the very end, it just screwed up. I took enough damage from a stupid mistake, and I had to start this fight over again from the checkpoint. So yeah, once you get to this part of the fight on top of this penthouse, you will have a checkpoint again. If you ever get into a clash with her and her back is against the wall, you should really try and take advantage of the counter clash, because if you punch her or kick her away, she will have, like, no room to be sent flying back towards. Which means you could probably get into some attacks right in on her pretty easily afterwards anyways. So she likes to do Tetsunkos and heel stomps. Like, I've never really been too good at maintaining it. I guess I find them easier to do when I'm holding down the lock-on button. See, I was doing that fight so well here, and then I got hit by her centipede twice, so I just had to restart it. But yeah, I find myself getting to counter-attacks, little clashes like that quite often in this fight. It's like I said, she doesn't do anything new. Like, all these things that you're seeing here now, like, nothing here is new from when you fought her on top of the plane. Now, this part sucked. I did a witch twist, and then we both hit each other with Wicked Weaves at the same time. That was kind of crap. But yeah, this is an example of how that camera can be really screwy. I was amazed I didn't take any damage there, even though I thought I was going to, because when you're up on this side of the building, the camera just likes to get so weird against you. And that's an example of her just choosing to sink back down onto the floor without you, and the camera once again screwing me over because of the way that this fighting arena is laid out. Oh yeah, I left this part in because I thought this looked awesome, because those little atrium parts on the side that are covered with glass are fully destructible. And I think it's pretty cool to destroy them because most of the time Jeanne will try to fight you in front of the fountain or on the waterfall, and she rarely goes into the other parts around this arena. But yeah, I had to try for like half an hour in order to get a decent fight against her this last part. She is not to be taken lightly. And the worst part was, whenever I was doing really, really good against her, I would always get, you know, hit in a way that would probably ruin my ranking. And now this is the winning fight. I do like the location where you fight. It's a good idea in concept, but the camera gets too screwy on here because of the way you have to constantly change where you have to stand on one of the walls or on the floor. That's just the nature of how the witch walking segments goes. It's just kind of weird, like, you know, what the camera has to do in order to compensate for where you have to be in this fight. But other than that, I don't have too many other new things to say about it, other than, as you can see there, the charge modifiers for the shotguns can be pretty useful when you're at close quarters on her, and they can get her into hit stun pretty easily. Firing the rockets at her with the kill gore can be very good if you're a bit of a distance away. There's actually a pretty good chance that she won't dodge it or anything, and that you might actually hit her with it. She does like to avoid, Shuraba Wicked Wings, the ones that come from the ground, a lot, I find. I'm actually surprised I started fighting her in this area, because normally the fight never takes itself to that point. As in location-wise. I was pretty scared that I got hit there because her Wicked Weave blocked my view, but thankfully I didn't take any extra damage there. And nearly every time she does a witch twist, there she will pretty much always do like a afterburner kick on you right afterwards. I mean, the fight with Jeanne is more of a test of perseverance. Like, you just have to keep getting used to, you know, attacks. And if you got her down to her last life bar and you get into a counter clash with this, you have to complete 2 circles. But it's so cool to end a fight like this. Boom. So, eventually I got a fight that I was pleased with. Took a while, though.
Now it's decided.
So it is.
The fear is still not gone from your eyes.
Fear?
The memories you've held for 500 years are the source of your fear. They cloud your vision. But now, you've accepted your fate. That is how you bested me. That is why you possess the most beloved of Umbran treasures. That is why you possess the left eye.
We fought for this stone, and because of it, everyone died.
That gem brings back so many memories. Treasured left eye will never fall into the hands of another. I will not stand for the wild ambition of a treacherous Lumen sage who disrupted our age-old balance. Your path ends here. Do not fear your fate. Stand, Theresa. In the innocence of our childhood, we used to play together as friends. But as time passed, perhaps even my eyes were clouded with fear.
we were.
Do not fear your fate. Stand, Cereza. Stand and open your eyes. For with every truth, there is another one to be seen.
Hey, is it over? What? It's not like you don't scare the shit out of me all the time.
Cereza. I don't know whether to shoot you, or to take you to Vegas for good luck, Cheshire.
Give me more credit than that. If you must know where L-U-K-A Luca is concerned, there's no such thing as luck. Only skill. You didn't expect me to trust bitches. I mean, witches, did you, Bayonetta?
How's the little one?
Out like a light. But okay other than that. What about you? You really think I'm gonna let myself be seen in public with a girl looking all beat up like that?
Uh-oh. Don't tempt fate, man.
I look dreadful, do I?
Huh?
You'll have to learn to wipe that stupid look off your face, or I'll never let you keep chasing me around this world. Got that? Luca?
Now that's more like it.
And that's the end of the chapter. Got quite a lot of explanation of Bayonetta's backstory. Seems that her name is Cereza. She was apparently sealed into that gem by Jean during the witch hunts in order to try and protect her from being taken by, say, the Lumen Sages to prevent the cycle of creation, but that is not an easy chapter at all. So even though how short it is technically, that was a tricky one to get done. Like, it took me about half an hour to get a good full Jean fight in there. The next fight is, again, another really long and difficult chapter, but we'll get that into the next episode. See you later, and thanks for joining me.